everyone. Welcome back to the Hotep Jesus YouTube channel. I am Wendy O. This is my co-host, Hotep. Thank you guys for being here. So tonight on Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, we talk about relationships, love and marriage, the nuclear family, all types of stuff. And if anybody's about to troll me for the way I say nuclear, I know Jason.
Speaking of nuclear.
Yes.
Speaking of nuclear, I had a guest on last week. We talked about nuclear energy engineering, nuclear engineering technology, works in a nuclear plant. And I learned a lot about nuclear energy and how not so dangerous it is. So if anybody missed that, it's on this channel with Mark Schneider.
Okay.
Really great chat. We geeked out for like an hour and a half. Really fun.
I'm excited to hear that. It's, you know what's so cool? I love being able to talk to people from different backgrounds and learn from them and get their point of view on things.
Yeah, that's the great part about being me, you know. Thanks to Joe Rogan and raising my profile, I can get more people on my channel than usual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get to talk to all types of interesting people. Matter of fact, I had that huge Bitcoin debate, right? Last year with Peter McCormick, Shinobi, and Kurt Schilling and all those guys. Yeah. Like that was not possible without, the high profile, thanks to Rogan. And that was my crash course into not necessarily Bitcoin, but more or less the technicality of Bitcoin and the technology surrounding it, and then like the drama, right? Like the whole history of that you don't really see out front too often, but the whole Blockstream type thing with Roger Ver and whatnot. Yeah, I had no idea about that stuff.
Well, if you would have known me, I could have hooked you up because I have a big network. I've had a huge network for the last year that I've worked very, very hard to get. And I'm really hype about that. And one of the things I'm hype about is our guests that we're going to have on next week. Should I tell them now or should we wait?
Nah, tell them now, yo.
So you guys, I know John McAfee and his beautiful, amazing wife, Janice, and they're going to come on with us next Wednesday at 2 p.m. EST. So we're going to have to do it a little bit earlier because we have to coordinate with John and Janice because they are on the run from the U.S. government. So they're going to come on the show and talk to us about entrepreneurship, about being on the run, how they met, why John does not fuck with his wife. And I'm super hyped for that. It's going to be an amazing conversation. John is a very intelligent man, and his wife, she has an amazing story too, how they met. So I'm not going to go too deep into that because I need them to tell the story for us.
Yeah. That's going to be lots and lots of fun. I'm looking forward to that. When is that? Next Wednesday, right?
That's next Wednesday. So
next Wednesday, what time? 2 p.m.
You're not checking your emails. Next Wednesday, 2 p.m. EST.
You want to see what my calendar looks like?
I do not, because then I have to show you my calendar and then we'd both cry.
Okay, I had that call today. All right, all right. So next week, bop. All right, so it's not in my calendar. So in the future, if we ever do anything like that, can you just send me like a calendar invite so it goes automatically to my phone? But I'll get that in there. Thank you. Yeah, next Wednesday I am free, 2 p.m. And looks like I have some sort of interview next Tuesday. So yeah, it works.
Wednesday. It's going to be hype. It's going to be a fun conversation just because they're both such interesting people. I remember, and this is a cool story. I remember I was on my way to work when I worked at my shitty healthcare job, and I was listening to K-Rock. It's a rock and roll station. They had John McAfee on. That's the first time I actually knew who he was. I was probably like, 23, something like that, 23, 24. And then And then now I'm actually able to get him on my channel and then get him on your channel. Like, it's like I fucking made it.
Yo, you got pulled.
It feels
Wendy
good.
O got pulled.
Victories like that. And I've got a couple things in the pipeline that I'm getting ready. I'm in the process of signing a contract for a sponsor for my, one of my shows. So I'm hyped to get that out. I can't announce it yet because we're still dealing with the contract. I got to make sure that that I understand and they understand the exclusivity of it. Contracts are very important in business. A lot of people don't understand how important contracts are and why you need to read them.
Indeed.
So yeah, what else did we want to? Did anything else happen in between? I know that you're blocking people. You're blocking whole entire countries within 15 minutes.
Did you see that? That story that popped up? They said Hotep Jesus quits Twitter after blocking all 330 million people. I was like, oh snap.
That was great. I died. I was like, oh my God. Because sometimes you go on these rampages where you just start blocking people, and I die. I'm just like, these people have it coming. I'm a little bit nicer than you were. So I don't block.
Yeah.
I just mute them. And I think it's because I'm a woman. I got to be a little bit nicer because if I'm too alpha, then they're like, people don't like that about women. So women, we have to play our role.
I guess.
We totally do. And I notice it because sometimes when I go too hard on people, that's like people won't talk to me for a little bit, and then like I'll ease up and be a little bit more feminine, and then people will start coming around again. But that's just because they're betas, especially in the
Oh,
crypto community.
God.
Um, but
I'm too
today,
busy with real life to even care.
well, today I
You
actually
know?
I sent you that DM about on August 11th that there's this thing that started on Instagram to where they're calling for the Black community to buy Bitcoin, every Black person in America to buy Bitcoin on August 11th.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What's up with that?
so basically, all they're doing is they just want people in the Black community to basically they're using it as a way to protest and to, I guess, establish Black wealth in cryptocurrency, which that's great. I'm all for it. I'm all for different communities coming in and learning about crypto, but there's no education put down. They just say use Cash App and buy Bitcoin, and that's where I have the problem with it, because I feel that it's counterproductive to the community, because you're introducing a lot of people that, and when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about general population is not tech smart. They don't understand what a private key is. They don't understand the importance of being your own bank. There's no number you can call if you lose your Bitcoin. So I think that it's irresponsible for people to call that without a guide. So I had my buddy Dragon Wolf Tech Jason. He came on my show, and we talked about it, and we talked about the pros and the cons of it, and it was a good conversation.
Who started that thing?
We have no idea who started it. We tried to look it up.
Ooh.
We tried to look it up, and it was on Instagram, which was really interesting that it was put on Instagram, because there's not a big crypto community on Instagram at all. There's a
Usually when people do stuff like that, they tag it with their tag and they want credit for starting things like that. So the fact that, I couldn't find out who that was and we don't know who created that, I'm a bit skeptical.
Yeah, so I had talked to one of my trader friend of mine, and this guy is a legitimate trader. He trades with a lot of money, and he's just like, he's kind of like laughing about it. He's like, this is kind of a joke, especially for like, because Bitcoin has a limited supply. Like, it only has there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So the fact that they're publicly calling for a specific group of people to purchase a large amount of Bitcoin, that's going to manipulate the market, and it's going to be very easy for whales. If you guys are watching, you don't know what a whale is. A whale is somebody that owns a lot of wealth, and they're able to move the markets a lot of times, and it's like a sign for them. So they're going to be able to counter trade, and I just don't think it's a. If there was like an educational, if there was like every week they had like a community meetup or like a virtual meetup, and like, okay, this is what Bitcoin is, this is why the Black community should buy it, this is why it's important, then I'm with that. Do it. But if you're just kind of leading sheep somewhere without really explaining it to them, I don't think that's good.
Yeah. Let's talk about relationships.
Let's talk about relationships. Well, so a couple things happen personally. So I'll talk about those first. So I'm an empath. So I get very emotional, and I see things and I feel things. So I was thinking about like my first real boyfriend, because I don't know why he just was popping into my head. And generally when people start popping into my head, I end up running into them. So I was on my way home from getting my lashes done, because we're allowed to get our lashes done in Los Angeles County with the mask. So I'm getting
What
my
does that
lashes.
even mean? Get your lashes done? Like
Lash,
you have them put on?
yeah, like lash extensions.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right.
I've been having the lash extensions, and then quarantine happened. I couldn't get them, but I need to treat myself. I deserve it. So I was on the way home. I went to the sandwich shop by my mom's house,
So how
because
does this thing work? Do they sew them on? They glue them on?
they glue them on. They last for like 3 weeks.
So you have glue on your eyes.
I do, yes. And do you have a
Are they?
problem with that?
I do. Are they waterproof? Can you
Yes,
swim with them?
yes.
What will a big gust of wind do?
They'll make me fly away.
All right, so you went and got your eye wings done.
I got my
Hmm.
eye wings done. I felt like a unicorn after. I'm just kidding. So I went into the sandwich shop, and I got this vibe, because I get vibes. And this guy walks out, and I'm wearing my mask. He's staring at me, and I'm like, because people recognize me. Me and my sisters, people know who we are. They know my husband's family and stuff from where we grew up, because who we are and whatever. And this guy's staring at me. I'm like, I just put my face down, because I don't want to talk to none of those people I went to high school with. I don't fuck with those people. So, and then I look over and I see my ex's mom there from when I was in high school, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh
So I just
wow.
put my face down, and I did not want to talk to that woman because she was just as nasty as her son was, and she enabled that type of behavior. So I was just like, oof, oof. It's just a not a good experience at all.
Okay.
So that was that. And then my cousin, this is related to relationships. So my cousin, she lived with my husband and I. We got her to graduate high school. I tried to get her on birth control. Her dad was like, no, we're not getting, I don't want her on birth control. This is years ago. So she got pregnant. She had 2 kids with some scumbag. So apparently during COVID, he took the kids and he left. So he took the kids, he left. Her dad is out of state. Her dad wasn't able to come back in state because, well, I forget where they were staying. Something happened to where he couldn't come back. The mom is like an addict and was raised by basically wolves. She's like a mess. So the mom just left and like left the daughter with nobody. So all she has is like me, my mom, and my sisters. And she's like seen the kids like on and off, but he didn't let her see the kids for like a month. And apparently he had a girlfriend. This guy never wanted to work, never wanted to do anything. And now they're going to court to fight for the kids, and he's trying to pull all this stuff saying she's this terrible mom and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just like, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to the homie Primal Fires in the building. I'm gonna go ahead and promote some moderators. Ken, you're the homie. Mod up. Primal Fire, I mean, you're the homie. I gotta mod you up too. Appreciate y'all supporting and being here with me. So check this out. I was talking to somebody I coached. I coached their business, and he told me that his wife left him, took $18,000 out of their account, and bounced with the kid. Now,
No.
yeah. Oh, and this is like an older couple, right? Like they're like 50s, 60s type couple. And she's just like, just took the 18K, bounced, and now they're in like divorce court. And this is like a really amiable, good dude. Now, Mercury's in retrograde right now. So a lot of
It
things are
is.
going to be happening. And I've been staying away from social media because of Mercury retrograde and focusing more on, the kids are out of school now. So I got my own little boot camp going with them and stuff. But it's like crazy. Like people are just picking up and taking the kids and bouncing on people. Does she
Mhm.
know where the kids are?
At first, she did not know.
Mm,
Um, it's and that's they live up in the mountains in California, and up in the mountains is very, very white trash, very, very white trash. It's a lot of people move up there because they can't afford to live down the mountain because it's so expensive. And then it's weird. There's like a lot of white trash, and there's very rich white people because a lot of people have their vacation homes up there. Um, so that's one of the reasons why she's up there is because her dad married somebody that had money and they lived in the mom's house, whatever. But she didn't know where the kids were, but then she was able to find them, and then she gets them like every other week. But he's like a complete sociopath. Like I met him, and I'm the type of person where I'll call you out on your stuff, like
yeah.
stuff. Like my stepson, he had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend ended up leaving him because he was just being a mess. And I took her side, not his side. So I'm very like, let me hear the facts, and then I'll pick sides after I hear facts.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, like what goes through your mind? Make sure y'all hit the like button while y'all here. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, helps the algorithm.
Set alerts.
Man, set alerts, yeah. What? Damn, like what do you do after like somebody picks up and bounces with the kid? I ain't got them problems. I chose a good woman and do my best to make sure everybody in the house happy. I put the family first. But I couldn't imagine, her just picking up and taking the kids.
With the money too.
Oh, and the money too. Oof. I might be more mad she took the money. You can have the kids.
No, you would miss your babies.
No, I'm
It
just joking. I'm just joking.
I know, but still though, that's and it generally what happens is it generally happens to like the nice person. Like my cousin, like her because they ended up getting married, he refused to work. So she had to work when she was still breastfeeding the kid because the kids were like they were like 9 months apart. They were like back to back. So she was still breastfeeding and she was like nursing and then going to work like at Subway or something like that. And he
Mm,
refused to get a job. And I have family in the military. My family in the military, my both cousins, they're like, we'll get you in the military. We'll make sure you get a good job. You won't go overseas. And he's like, like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. But it's like, dude, and my man even talked to him and is like, you have a family now. He's like, I had kids young. He had kids at 20. He's like, you have to work. Even if you don't want to work, you need to, you need to work. So he didn't want to. So it's going to be interesting to see what the judge says. I'm curious. And I even told her, I says, I'll go if you want. Like me personally, if it was me and if I didn't have my daughter, it was a couple of years ago, I would have gone and I would have taken the kids and I would have whooped him. Nope. Like
with them boxing lessons, right?
It would have been bare knuckle. It would have been fist cuffs, like straight up. Like I can't do that. I don't like people that bully. I don't like people that take advantage of other people. It bothers me.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. All right, so what's the next topic?
Next topic is in-laws. Let's talk about our in-laws, how our spouses deal with them and how people can deal with difficult in-laws. You want to go first or should I go first?
You go first.
All right. So I am blessed. I am absolutely blessed because my mother-in-law, she's amazing. She loves the kids. She loves me. If she didn't work, she would watch my daughter. Hispanic women, in-laws, for the most part, they want to take care of the family. They want to be there. They will do everything they can to help you. They will take you in and treat you like they're their own. Of course, there are some ones that are not as nice, but my mother-in-law is absolutely amazing. She thinks very negatively sometimes, but she's good. So her and I get along. And my father-in-law, I know the type of man he is. He's not very involved with the kids. He likes to drink. He likes to come around when he has time. I love him and accept him for who he is. So I don't have issues with them. And then my mom, at first she didn't like my husband. He wasn't allowed to come to the house, just different stuff like that. Because when we met, he was a mess and I was a mess too. But now my mom accepts him and she loves him and, so we're like on our side, as far as that goes, we're good.
Yeah, mine all live far away, so I ain't got to deal with them.
Oh, okay.
Which is a good thing. You know what I mean? But even when I'm around them, the funny thing is I'm an ambivert, right? So when I get around people I'm not comfortable with, I kind of like go into my turtle shell and I don't say anything and I kind of just sometimes I feel like I can come off like douchebaggish because I don't talk, like I won't say anything, and also because like I suck at small talk. Like I'm really bad at small talk. But if you get me on a good topic, I can get going and we can have a good discussion. But one time I was at the in-laws, and this was I want to say Thanksgiving, and I was talking to the younger generation. They're like 16, so on and so forth. So I'm telling them about how Martin Luther King Jr. was messing with prostitutes and hoes, right? So the kids, we had the discussion and we come downstairs to have dinner. And one of the kids is like, hey, Brian told us that Martin Luther King was buying prostitutes. I'm like, yeah. Like, yo. And my whole spot blown up. And everybody kind of just like, was able to change the subject. I was like, oh. Like, what are you doing? You ain't supposed to say that. So it's like you gotta be careful what you tell the next generation, and you gotta give them specific directions after you give them some information. But we were arguing about Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, but that was crazy, man.
And is your girl, is she Black?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at a fully Black function, and you're talking about Martin Luther having.
Exactly.
That's like me going to my husband's because his family is very religious. He's not, but they're Christian. They're not Catholic, which is bizarre because they're Hispanic, but they're very Christian. That's just like me going in and talking about Jesus having prostitutes.
Yeah. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it was not good.
Oh man.
Grandma was like, what? Like, nothing, Grandma. Don't worry about it. And then my girl's looking at me like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you telling motherfucker? I'm just like, yo, my bad. And this is like, the first time I'm meeting the fam and really like the first time I go down and have like Thanksgiving with the fam. You know what I mean?
That's a big deal too.
yeah, that's a big deal, you know. And I'm just like telling people about Martin Luther King and his hoes. Yeah,
You ratted him out, man. Come on.
yeah, exactly. Oh man.
So I guess what's because there we hear these. So it's not that. So you're just kind of like indifferent with your girls, with your like the in laws. It's like you don't see them a whole lot. You really, you're cool with them,
Well,
but it's not like
they're in a whole nother income bracket. You know,
okay.
they're in that. You know, like I'm like middle class,
Hmm.
and they're like lower upper class. You know,
Okay.
so they all live in mansions, and they're all like connected to celebrities. Like, you know, their chef is Kanye chef, right? You know,
Okay.
so yeah, so like I can't really relate, you know? Like I was raised upper middle class, but we weren't lower upper class like that, you know? So they're all like prim and proper and like we play tennis and golf and that type of thing. And we have three cars in a three-car garage, a Porsche and a Tesla and a Range Rover, that type of thing. So like, and here I come with my fucking unpolished ass, rough around the edges, like all I wear is t-shirts and
And
army
hoodies.
cargo shorts and
And
hoodies.
hoodies.
Yeah. And people are like, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I just do a lot, right? So they're like, so grandma's always like, how do you get money? I don't understand it. And I'm just like, oh. So now I'm like able to say, well, I'm an author, right? And they're like, oh, you make money selling books? Yeah, yeah, grandma, I make money selling books. So yeah, it's really hard to explain who I am and what I do.
But you
You
got
know?
three startups though.
Yeah, that doesn't mean shit to them.
Okay.
They look at it like, I might as well be unemployed.
Okay. Okay. Do you ever play tennis with them?
Nah, I suck at tennis.
Okay. I'm trying to think. What can you guys do together? Maybe play Monopoly?
Yeah, I did that with the kids, and I ended up cursing out one of the kids by accident. I have problems. I have serious problems. I need to get under control. It was late. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was falling asleep, and it's the end of the game, and I'm just like, hurry the fuck up. You know how Monopoly can go. You could be there for hours, right?
Hmm.
And it's just like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. And they're all like 16, and I'm cussing them out. Hotep, Ruffy, and Jesus.
Oh my goodness. That's funny. That is I'm just trying to picture all that.
Yeah,
Try to
shout to
picture try to picture Hotep in a mansion yelling at the kids for playing Monopoly, then talking about Martin Luther King and his host.
I am the worst. This is why I stay introverted when I get around people. I just don't say nothing because it's like everything I have to say is just super radical, right?
Mhm.
It's either radical or I have nothing to say, right? There's nothing normal about me. It's been like this since forever. This is why I've never fit in anywhere. And if I fit in, it's because I'm hiding who I am. You know what I mean? Shout out to Victor of Life with the super chat, gang gang hotep or die, yatu sabes. So the only place I do fit in is the internet. This is the only place where I get to be myself and people think it's interesting.
So how'd you land your girl then?
Oh, um, damn! I thought I told this story last week. No,
No, I need no.
she needed a date to the prom. I wasn't having it. And this girl who had a crush on me was a Seventh Day. No, she was a Jehovah's Witness, so she wasn't allowed to talk to boys. And I think she tried to use this as an excuse to be on the phone with me. So I was on three-way with her and my girl, and she was like, yeah, she needs a date to the prom. And I'm like, I ain't really, I didn't did five of those, because I was like, I was popular in my town. And, you know, I did like five proms. And after the fifth one, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm done, and she said she needed a date to prom. I'm like, look, nah, I'm not doing that. We can be friends, so we were friends. And we were all from the same high school, right? So like, we knew each other and we knew of each other. We never like crossed paths or anything like that. um and then we just started hanging out, and talking, and then one thing led to another, and here we are.
Okay.
I actually, what happened was I was trying to get with her. She a fine little honey, you know what I mean? Fine little light skinned, little sexy little thing. You know what I mean? So I was trying to holler at her, and she was kind of like, playing me out a little bit. So we went to go hang out with her and her friends one night. So I told her, I said, yo, hook me up with your friend. And she gave me that elbow, like, how dare you? You know what I mean? So I was like, you care. So that's when I knew I was in there.
After you said no, I'm not going to prom with you.
Yeah.
So you played hard to get.
Nah, I just wasn't. I was just being honest. I wasn't gonna do that. I was not doing another one. I did 5 of them. I was
Oh
not
my
doing
goodness.
another one.
I
Yeah.
actually I didn't go to prom.
Really?
I didn't go to prom. So I was pretty popular in high school, but like during my sophomore year, I just got fed up with the people there because I wanted to get a job, I wanted to work, I wanted to go to college, I wanted to do things because I'm like, this is stupid. I'm going to school. It's just like lame. I don't want to be around you people. I had a lot of fun. My freshman year, I had a lot of fun. I used to hang out with the football team. I used to hang out with the boys on the basketball team. One of my neighbors, he was like a really good at basketball. And then like I met my dude and I got with him and he was just absolutely terrible. So I was just like depressed. I was like over it. So I didn't go
Uh,
to prom. I was like, I went, what I did, I was able to convince my mom to let me go to homeschool. So when I went to homeschool, I was able to get a job and I started community college and I graduated early. Then I started getting in trouble. So
uh,
I didn't go to prom. And then my best friend was supposed to take me to prom because he was ill in school. But then he got a girlfriend and didn't take me to prom. So I was mad. I hated her.
uh,
I hated her so
uh,
much. I was so mad.
she
I was
messed
so
your whole.
She
She
messed
messed
it
your whole
up
thing
because
up.
he liked me, and I didn't like him then. I didn't like him at all. So and then like I was so mad. I was so bitter. And then and then like he ended up getting sick, and he had actually ended up passing away at like
Yeah.
19 or whatever from
Oh no.
cancer. But he was like my best friend. But I was like, I'm still a little bit bitter. So I'm like, Joe, you didn't take me to prom.
Ah, ah.
I never got to go to
Yeah.
prom.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I did my prom. Well, the funny thing is, I didn't have a date to my prom, and I got finessed into a date. This girl, I didn't realize it, but she was flirting with me so she could go to the prom to spy on her ex boyfriend who was going to the prom, right? And I didn't realize it till I got there. Like, wait, oh, she dissed me for oh boy. I was like, oh, so I had a date, and then my date was gone the whole night, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, that was great, right? So that was that year. So then the next year, same girl, she ends up falling for me, so that I have to go to her prom, right? Then we broke up. Then my cousin hooked me up with her friend in another town, so I had to do her prom. And in between there somewhere, my best friend needed a date to the prom, so I went to the prom with her. And then after that, actually, so I did four. Yeah, after that, and then I was all promed out, man.
So people just used to pass you around at school.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. Like my senior year and on, like I really kind of just I was a ladies' man. Like I was talking like 10 girls at one time. You know what I mean? From and not even from our school. Like I was going to get girls from the next town over. I'd go
You
see
got to do
one.
that though.
Yeah, I didn't like the girls in my town, so I used to pick up girls from the mall, and then they'd be like from like Edison. So I'd hang out in Edison, and then I'd go see one girl, and her curfew was like 9, so I'd go see the next one and hang out with her, and then it was time to come home. Right? But so first of all, junior year I hung out. I always hung out with older people. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Even my second girlfriend in high school was a grade ahead of me. So I always hung out with older people. I didn't like people younger than me really. Um, so I always hung out with older people. So junior year, my friend had a car. So we used to be moving. Then senior year, I got my car, and we was moving again. So we was out and about getting all the girls.
I remember that we had because me and my it was I call her my stepsister. She's not really my stepsister, but my mom and her dad dated.
Wait,
So
who?
I have a friend. Well, she's not my friend anymore, but when we were growing up from like 13 to to like 18, so it was a girlfriend of mine. So I call her my stepsister because we were best friends, and then we were like, we thought it would be cool if we got our parents together. So we got our parents together, and then we ended up hating it because they were just gross all the time. So I used to go stay the night at her house, and we always dated older guys, and it was like way, way, way older guys because we looked older. Like after I glowed up, like, and after she glowed up, well, I always thought she was prettier than me, but then I realized, like, as an adult, like I was always prettier than her. So, but because
Okay, Wendy.
I didn't have confidence back then, but I have confidence now. So we always would hang out with older guys, and they would always have cars, and they would take us everywhere and do whatever. We'd be sneaking out, just being like going over to all these cities and doing like whatever. It was just we're bad. We're really bad.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one time, my senior year, we used to cut class, and we had this one kid who was like, he was a tough kid. Like he used to act like he was a thug, right? So we cut class, and we were calling everybody out. And so I called myself out because I was a senior, and then I called my little brother out, changed my voice out. Well, he was not my blood brother, but I called him my little brother, called him out. Then the other kid, I called him out, and something happened where like his dad got contacted. He was like, "Yo, I gotta go back to school, man. I gotta go back to school." I'm like, "Yo, what happened to all that thug shit you was just talking, yo?" So he ended up walking to school, and we cut school for the day. Oh
Was
man,
so the way you grew up, was it like middle class? Like how, like what kind of people?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was definitely middle class, predominantly Italian and Jewish, and then there was a black side of town. Actually, it was two black sides of town. So you had the black people downtown and the black people on the other side of town. And then there was another section a little bit further north. It was like three groups. They were actually like mini gangs, right? Like
Okay.
depending on where you lived, you were like default part of this gang, right? So if you were downtown, it was like, yo, I'm downtown. Or if you over here, you over there. Or you over here, you over here. So I got along with all the groups. So and
Hmm.
I lived like right smack in the middle of two of the gangs. So like I could like claim either one at either time. But I didn't claim any, but I hung out with the one people who were like on the other side of town, and they were kind of cool. Like I said, they were older, but they were like less gangster, you know. So I was like, I didn't hang out with the gangster crowd. I was more or less trying to play basketball and play video games. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, where I grew up in Southern California, everybody's so mixed. Like it's mostly, there's not, I'm trying to think, like the black, there's a bigger black community, like in like not even in Compton anymore. Like up until like the 2000s, like I don't know, like there was like black neighborhoods, but a lot of the like Latinos and Mexicans, like they moved in, so I don't know where like all the black community went. But like there's just a lot of Latinos, and like everybody's mixed out here. There's not really like, it's not really like set like in other states there's a lot of segregation that goes on, where people, like, there's a black community, there's a white community, like whatever. We don't really have that. Like everybody kind of lives like around, like it would just be, we would be kind of classified by poor people and like middle class and like rich people depending on where you live. But everybody was like, it would be common for there to be like white, Mexican, and blacks like all in like a rich area, and then like
Yeah,
poor, whatever. So it was always like that. But I was always friends with everybody. I didn't care. I was friends
yeah,
with like the dweebs, with like the athletes, all kinds of stuff. Didn't all the same.
yeah. I live by the white folks,
Okay.
so all my friends were all white. Next topic.
Hold on, I got one more thing to say.
All right,
did
go
I
ahead, go ahead, go
did I
ahead.
tell you about the Section 8 apartments behind my mom's house?
What? Oh yeah, I
Yes,
lived in the hood.
kinda.
You lived in the projects.
Kind of, almost. So my mom's, the townhome that we lived in was here, and then there was Section 8 apartments that was literally right behind it. And I don't, because it was my aunt's place, so I don't think she had any idea what Section 8 was there. It was brand new. So the Section 8 was right there, and there was a woman that used to live, because I had friends that lived there, so we would go hang out with them. I was a mixed kid. I used to go hang out with him all the time. But there was this woman, and she lived in the second or the third floor, and she was a prostitute, and she took the screen off her window. So she'd be sitting with her legs outside the window. She was cuckoo like crazy. And my sister would be outside smoking a cigarette at like age 13 or whatever. And so the woman's name was Dynasty, but my sister would call her Dynasty because she would have people She would have people, she would have men in her apartment. And then after she was done with them, she would sit in the windowsill facing my sister with her boobies hanging out.
Oh my God. Yeah, my God. Y'all had a crazy experience. Oh my God.
I miss,
Dynasty.
I miss Dynasty. But okay, before we get to the next topic, what advice do you have for people that have difficult in-laws? Like what should they do? Because you hear these stories where these people have like where it's a dude and the mother-in-law is just a B word. She's just nasty. She's just difficult.
You gotta breathe, first of all. Before so annoying people, whenever I know I'm gonna be around annoying people,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of go into a meditative state and role play in my head what it's gonna be like to be around this person, right? So I live through the experience in my head, run through it, 4 or 5 times. If they say this, I'm gonna do this, or if they do this, I'm gonna do that. And here's how I'm gonna keep my patience, and here's how I'm gonna keep my cool, right? It's very much about yourself, because obviously you can't be combative, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I would definitely, run through a mental scenario in your head, and just role play over and over again, like every single possible scenario and like how you respond to it, right? Um, but yeah, it could really wear on your patience and try to avoid, right? Like find different ways to avoid. And another thing is lead with kindness,
That's
right?
what I was going to say.
Yeah, lead with kindness. Like, as soon as they come through the door, oh wow, how are you? We got you some flowers, like, ooh, and you kind of like catch them off guard, and then they're like off your neck for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to recommend is if I had to deal with a difficult in-law, what I would probably do is I would probably just be really kind and polite and just understand that I'm not being kind and polite for them. I'm being kind and polite for my spouse to make their
Hmm.
life easier because at the end because a lot of people what they do is they get combative and they argue and they just be difficult about it. But what you have to understand is that person is your elder and you may not like them. You just they just might be the most difficult person ever, but at the end of the day you didn't marry them, you married their child, and you married part of being married and being in a relationship is understanding and making that person's life easier. And if you're being difficult with their parents, they probably know their mom is the B word, but they're not, of course they're not going to say it because it's their mom. So just do your best to just kind of ignore and just understand, okay, this person is this way, God made them this way, or the universe made them this way. So just to love them and accept them for who they are, because if you fight with them, then you're going to have problems with your spouse, and then the 364 days out of the year you're going to be miserable with your spouse, and it's going to lead to divorce or separation.
Bingo, bingo, bango.
That's it. All right, next topic. Why do men defend trash women? Why do they feel the need to white knight, and why are they unable to see a female for a trash person, for the trash that they actually are? Because not
Well,
everybody is good. I like to see the good in people, but there's some people that are complete garbage. But I feel like men, even though they're presented with facts about a specific female, it's like the pussy, the thought of getting pussy or getting in the pants, they're just like, I'm being dead serious. They're just like they feel like they have a chance, so they're not gonna dislike that person. They're not gonna call them out.
uh, that's exactly it. You see, when a white knight sees a trash woman, they see an accessible woman, right? They think,
Mhm.
I can't get quality, so let me at least try and get this trash ass woman, since I ain't getting laid, right? And they feel like by white knighting, it'll get them closer. You see, when they white knight, they're not actually going to get any ass, but at least they get to sniff it, right? And they just want to be around, like that's as close as they'll get to women. So the sad part is they're probably like staying around and then going home and wanking off, right? To the thought of barely, yeah, like this is the type of stuff that they're probably doing, right? And it's sick and it's disgusting. Like I feel like white knights, male feminists, are probably like the biggest rapists on the planet
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are the people that are like highly susceptible to rape a woman, right? They're unattractive men. They're not used to getting girls and not used to having female attention. They don't know how to get girls. They don't know how to get female attention. Um, in fact, I got to plug my book, Unbreakable Rules of Masculinity, and the link is in the description box below. But there's this French kid who does this video about this kid who's stuck in the friend zone. It's like, how do you get out the friend zone, right? So, make a long story short, um, the teacher asks, he says, um, one girl, well, the kid says one girl wants him, but he doesn't want her. The other girl that he wants doesn't want him. So the teacher asked him, he said, well, how did you greet the girl that likes you? And he's like, I don't know. I treat her like a friend. And he was like, well, the girl that you like, did you treat her like a friend? He goes, no. And it's like, that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
You approached her like trying to get draws, which is something you usually do not want to do. You kind of want to be casual about, because women like to chase. Women actually want to do the chasing. They don't like being chased, right?
Mm,
They like attention, not to be
I'll,
confused with being chased.
we could talk about that after this because I disagree.
Well, let's talk about it right now. Damn it.
I like to be chased.
Okay.
I like to be chased. If a man doesn't chase me, I'm not interested.
All right. Now I'm going to show you a prime example. Dude was supposed to take you to prom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he liked you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You're gonna hurt my heart.
Right? He didn't get nowhere. He went and got another girl, and then now your heart was broken, right?
Right.
And you had no date to prom. So you say you like it, and that's what all women say. But the fact of the matter is, it's not true. You see, actions speak louder than words.
That's
If you
true.
liked it, you'd have been with him.
He was younger than me. That was a whole different
Oh,
scenario.
another excuse.
No, it was a very complicated situation. It was very he was younger than me. It just and then I was like dating somebody. He was in a band
He could have pulled you. If he went to the Hotep Jesus School of Girls, he could have pulled you.
maybe, I don't know. No, I don't. Well, you're like, you know what? You're right. We do like attention. Like my girl Justine, she posted something. She's like, guys, it's very simple. If you want to get a girl, tell her she's beautiful and bring her food.
Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not tell her she's beautiful. Do not.
Why?
That's the last thing you want to do. Because that's what every dude says. You
No,
have to
every
be
every
different from
every
everybody
dude says,
else.
I want to see Bob's and Vagine. That's what they say nowadays.
Who?
There is a meme that says that if you don't treat your woman right, there's 10,000 men from India that are going to be in her Facebook DMs asking for Bob's and Vagine.
Also true. I, you can't tell her she's beautiful.
Why?
The only way you can do that is when she's already throwing you the vibes. If she's throwing you the vibes, then the
Okay.
rules change,
Okay.
right?
Okay. See, you needed to say that. If she's throwing you the vibes and you call her beautiful, then you're gonna nail that. But if you're just like simping, if you're being an insult and simping, and you calling her beautiful, she's gonna be like,
Well, if she's throwing you the vibes, you ain't got to call her beautiful. She's already
You sh-
throwing you the vibe.
you should though. You should.
Nah, you should
You
not.
should.
You
You
should
should.
definitely not.
I
The
disagree.
last thing you want to do is compliment a woman. It's the last thing you want to do.
Don't you?
What you want to do is, this is in my book too, you want to compliment her on something very specific, like nice choice in shoes, right? Or got your eyelashes done recently, haven't you? You see, they just want to know that you've taken notice. You don't exactly have to compliment them. You just have to show that you're paying attention.
That's true. But then that starts game playing. I don't like game playing.
Um, in the entire animal kingdom, there's plenty of courting dances and games. The dating game is a game, and you got to play it to win.
I'm so glad I'm taken and I don't have to deal with none of this.
Me too.
It's too much. Like it's too much.
It
Eh,
is.
But it just okay. This is the thing though.
All
If
right.
a female is completely garbage, like if she displays this really toxic, she's just toxic and she's a bitch. And I'm going to use that word. I don't really like it, but I'm going to use it in this case. If she's a bitch and she's just not a nice person, she's just ugly. Like why even be around that? Why entertain it? Why build this woman up? She's already a gross person. Like why white knight for her? She's not a good person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of really attractive women who have been turned off just by their attitude, or there's a lot of attractive women who just have like this habitual attitude for negativity. Like there's
Mhm.
always something negative to be said. And it's just like, oh, why are you like so negative about everything? Um, yeah, I personally would never in my life do that. But again, white knights don't understand women. Um, so they do the dumbest things, man. They do the dumbest things.
Well, that makes sense. It's just in my mind, it's like there's so many other people in the world. Why bow down to this person that is just like you're seeing her be? Let's say you're seeing her bully another woman, or you're seeing her bully another. Let's just say human in general. Like those are the type of people that that have that vibe, that are the same people that are like going to kick a dog or kick a cat or like kick a kid, or like be nasty to like an elderly
Damn,
person. Like, no,
damn, that bad.
I'm being dead serious. I
Mm.
saw I'm not gonna say who it was, but I saw a girl at a conference. And I was getting some vibes from her, and I saw her. She gave some elderly lady some attitude, and I was just like, remember seeing that, and I'm like, this person is older than you. She's overweight. Let her sit at the effing table and go find another place to sit. Like, who does that? Just be,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to be the bigger person. I saw that. I was like, this person is crazy. She is
Mm,
nutty.
mm, mm. Yeah. I love older folks. Love, love, love older folks. Um, when I get around them, I ask a lot of questions and I try to learn from them. So I never understood why people are so disrespectful to them. Doesn't make
You
sense.
you want to know? There's a saying, and I think it might be my husband that says it. Well, there's a saying in AA and like Alcoholics Anonymous is that you find the oldest person in the room. Like if you're a newcomer, you find the oldest person. Because my husband's in AA, but I think he's going to be 12 years sober, clean and sober this year. But the saying is you find the oldest person in the room and you go sit with them and you talk to them, or you don't even talk to them, you listen to them because
Listen.
older people, they have been through it, they have seen it, they have walked the walk, and
Hmm.
that is where you learn. That is how you grow, is from somebody who's experienced probably what you experienced, maybe worse, and they've lived to tell about it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When you get around old folks, man, I've been around. So you're sitting around older folks. Got my young cousin or young friend or whoever's around, and the young one's talking, and I'm the type of person to be like, "Yo, don't talk. Listen, listen. You're doing too much talking." That's how I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell them. You're doing too much talking. You're not listening to what this man is saying or what this woman is saying. Shut up and listen while they talk, because
Mm-hmm.
they're giving you history that you will never find anywhere. This is history you can't even find on Google, because they're
Mm-hmm.
giving you. They're a primary source to a time that you might not. You can read about it, but you'll never get that story like when they tell you about it, right? Like when my aunt and uncle told me about the sit-ins at their high school. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to read about sit-ins. It's another thing for them to tell me firsthand account what that was like and how other students reacted. And you can ask questions, right? You can't ask a book questions. You can't ask
Exactly.
documentary questions. So when I get around old folks, like my dad, right? My dad is tell the same 50 army stories every time I get around him, right? And some people might say, "Hey dad, I heard this story already." Not me. Like I want you to keep telling it so I
Mm-hmm.
get them memorized, right? Like say it, tell me again. And every time he tells me the story, I have a new set of questions. Well, what about this? What about that? And then these stories just get more and more visual in my head. And then, eventually I'm gonna publish my dad's book or documentary. He's like he had the most interesting childhood to adulthood ever. You know, like the type of stepfather he had and his upbringing and having to make toys, right?
Hmm.
Because he didn't grow up rich, and then his military experience, and then qualifying for the intelligence section of military, which is like out of like 20,000 troops, only 20 make it into this division. My
Hmm.
dad is one of them, and then he tells me like all those stories, and like some of them like I can't share because they're
Right.
like
Right.
you
Right.
got to take them to the grave, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, you know, you when you get around old folks, man, you got to soak that up.
I agree. I'm the same way. My aunt, I've talked about her on the show a couple of times. My great aunt, she actually was. I was talking to my mom about it last night. She was like a silent feminist, like way back when. What's so funny?
Somebody said, "Is this host Anglo or is she mixed?"
This host, let me tell you about this host, okay? This host is half Sicilian and a super Jew. I am Einstein's fifth or sixth cousin, okay? I am a third generation immigrant from both sides. On my father's side, they are Jewish, they are German and Romanian, okay?
Y'all done got Wendy started up.
Got me started up, and I married a Latino man who says he's white.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, my great aunt, she was a silent feminist, and the way that she was a silent feminist is that she was born in the United States, but the family immigrated from Italy, from Sicily, and she, instead of going and courting a man, like being with a man, getting married, she worked in a sweatshop, and then she started sweeping floors at the bank, at Chemical Bank, and she worked her way up to a teller. And as a teller, you're making okay money back then. She could have landed herself a man. She didn't want that though. She wanted to work harder, so she did, and she would sometimes, because of some of the storms in New York, she would have to sleep overnight at the bank. She would have to walk through the snow to get to work, all kinds of stuff. And she just continued to work, and she worked her way up, and that was her way of being a feminist and standing up for women's rights, but doing it, herself, and not going out there and whatever it was. But what I would do is I didn't realize how amazing her story was, but once I got my life together and I understood, I would call her every Wednesday and we would talk on the phone, and she would just tell me different stories about, how she grew up, or about her father, and losing her mom, and like different people that she would work with, and all these really cool things. And that actually helped me mature, and it helped me become a better woman, because I was able to listen to this person and their experiences. And it's just like, my mom will tell a lot of stories too. It's just phenomenal to hear that a woman way back, that was essentially an immigrant, she made a life for herself, and she took care of herself, and she could have had a man because she was beautiful, but she chose to do what made her happy. So
Wendy, do you wear hair extensions?
no,
That's all your hair?
this is my hair.
Okay. Got the locks.
I got the locks. That is the. I guess we can attribute that to the Romanian side of the family.
That's the Romanian side.
That is the Romanian side. They got some thick hair, so it's all my hair. Um, I'm very proud of my hair.
So is the Jewish side Romanian?
It's Romanian and German.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. So what are your kids gonna claim?
I don't know. I posted a picture on Twitter because I wanted to make a point. Because I don't know if you saw, it was my husband holding my daughter's hand, and there's obviously a different skin color, and people are commenting underneath that if you wouldn't have said anything about race or color, I wouldn't have known. I'm like, shut the hell up. There's a difference there. You would have known. I did it for a reason. I don't know what they're going to claim. My stepkids, they claim that they're white. My daughter will probably claim that she's white. I don't know. I think she's enough Native American to where she can get scholarships and stuff from my husband's side. So I have no idea. She can.
So
My daughter can be whatever she wants.
so your daughter's uh, Native American, Hispanic, white, and Jewish. So technically she's black.
I guess so. So she could. Could she? Is she a POC? I don't know.
Technically she's Elizabeth Warren.
Well, she except my daughter actually does have Native American, and I've got baby pictures to prove it, because when she came out, her eyes were they're like my mother-in-law's eyes. They're very slanted, like they're super Native American.
She's
But
gonna qualify for reparations.
is she?
She qualifies for reparations.
Okay, well, when they give reparations, I'm going to send her to you, and I'll be like, Coach, will help you fill your paperwork out.
She said, Primal Fire said Wendy is descended from Dracula.
I I actually you know what? I actually I love vampires, so I might be who the hell knows. Interesting story about that side of the family though. My cousin Barbara, that was my dad's best friend. It was his cousin. She was married to a Saturday Night Live cameraman, so they used to go party and whatever way back then. But she divorced him because he was a cocaine addict, and she married a museum curator or whoever was in charge of the museum, and they went to Romania to try to pull the records of my family, and everything was like burnt and gone and whatever.
Uh,
So I don't know.
uh, so sad.
It is, it is what it is. I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't support the takedown of statues. What I think people should do instead of destroying the statues, I think that they should put them in a museum, and I think that they should maybe take the proceeds from the museum and donate it to the people that these statues had oppressed or whatever it was, and keep it with the correct history so people can kind of go to this museum and reflect on what was done to their people.
I'm really like in the middle on this whole statue thing, right? So when I think of statues being torn down, I think of the end of the Ptolemaic period of ancient Egypt, aka ancient Kemet. And this is basically symbolic of the end of the rule, right? This
Right.
is Greek losing power or Ptolemy losing power over the region, right? So when I see these statues coming down, I see the dismantling of a power, of a superpower, right? Um, I don't think that these people are doing this with that in mind. I don't think they're pulling down the right statues. The only statue I do agree with being pulled down was Christopher Columbus.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah, that sucker should have never had a statue to begin with. Um, he had issues,
Right.
um, like some serious issues.
My only thing about that though is that because there was like a holiday named after him and the way that American history is written, I feel that some of these statues, they should be placed in like a museum with like the incorrect history and then the correct history, so future generations can look back and say, okay, this is what happened and this is what actually happened. Because I feel the only like my only concern is that we are going to erase history and people are going to forget, because tech, like, even though we have all this amazing technology and books and all this stuff, people, it's very easy to rewrite history. We've seen that done with the Bible multiple times. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's my only concern is I want people to know that, black people were treated incorrectly, and Jews were treated badly, and Native Americans and Hawaiians and Latinos and Italians and all these cultures, all these races were treated poorly. And I feel like if we're taking down all these statues and completely destroying them, it's essentially erasing the bad that they did to these groups of people. And is that good for our kids? Is that good for future generations that we're just destroying everything? Or should we put these people on blast and put them somewhere and say, hey, this is what really happened?
Well, the thing is, the white liberal doesn't exactly want anybody, or the ruling class, the communist socialists that are in power, don't exactly want people to have a real revolution, which is a revolution of the mind. So as long as they can keep them distracted on something stupid like pulling down statues, they win. And I said before, like, the statue thing is a very short term thinking thing. It's like,
Right.
all right, you pulled the statue down, what changed, right? Like, nothing in anybody's life changed. It didn't feed the 19 million starving American children. It didn't do anything, right? And it's just like, let's think about like the long term things, like education, economics, art. It's, instead of tearing down a statue, why don't you go build one,
Right.
of somebody you care about, somebody you think, instead of tearing down, build.
I agree. I just would like to see them in a museum, in a place, just like, because there's a museum in on the west side. What the hell is it called? It's about the Holocaust, and it has, tells a story of everything that happened. And it's important that this museum is there, because a lot of people, there's been some people in the past that have tried to erase what happened with the Holocaust and said that it didn't happen or whatever. And it did happen. It was true. And it wasn't just Jews that they killed. They killed a lot of other races as well. They killed blacks and minorities and gypsies and gays and all kinds of stuff. So That's just
Mm-hmm.
that's my thing. I just don't want people to forget what happened, to forget there's good and bad in history, and I think that we should acknowledge all of it as to further ourselves.
Yo, Charlie, you bugging. Susan Thursday's $20 super chat. Appreciate you all the way from Canada.
Happy Canadian Day. Is it Canadian Day, Canada Day?
I don't know.
It's something. Happy Canada Day. Happy Bacon
Happy
Day.
Canada Day. What's the next topic?
All right. Oh, we kind of touched on this one. You mentioned that you had a female best friend. Females with male friends or vice versa, because I have mostly male friends. Is that a red flag if you're brand new to dating somebody?
Oh yeah, if I was your man, you had to cut all them off. They
Mm-mm.
out.
Nah. Mm-mm.
They out. Either that or they gotta see these hands. We gotta
That's
fight.
fine. That's fine.
And if I whoop their ass, you they can't be your friend no more. If I win the fight, they can't be your friend.
Let me tell you this. I only mess with alpha males. My husband's an alpha male. My husband will whoop anybody's ass. But
He should
I
he should he should fight every single last one of your male friends.
God,
Knuckle to knuckle once a week.
he's old. Come on.
What do you mean he's old?
He's
I,
old.
they got knuckle up. You want to be friends with my girl? We gotta fight. That's just is what it is.
I work in a male dominated space. What the hell am I going to do? I can't network then.
Well, there's a difference between networking associates and friends, right? Like you ain't allowed
Eh,
to hang out with no dude unless I'm there, right?
right. That's
Like
that's
you ain't
fair
about to
enough.
go out to dinner with some dude. "Oh, I'm going out to dinner with George. No, the fuck you not. You going out to dinner with me and George, right? Or I'm going outside with George. There
I'm going out to You're going out to dinner with me and Jorge. I'm in Southern California.
you go. See, like
I
me and
I don't
Jorge going to fight.
I don't think it's a red flag. I wouldn't mind. If a guy has a female friend, I wouldn't and I was single, I wouldn't care.
So your man's allowed to have female friends?
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
What if she was hot with big boobs?
My ex there was porn stars, Playboy bunnies, models, all kinds of shit around the house all the time, and it didn't bother me.
Really?
It didn't till the end. It did because there was just he would drink a lot, and it just was towards the end. It bothered me.
Mm. Yeah, and then you mix alcohol in there.
Well, he used to
Not a good
like to
company.
yeah he used to like to drink a lot, so it was just too much. I was really young at the time too, but I
Mr.
mean,
Wendy, Mr. Wendy O, tell Wendy that if she's gonna have male friends, they gotta see you outside on the lawn, my brother.
well, he's actually had fist cuffs with some of my male friends.
There we go.
He
There
has.
we go.
He's an alpha. I've seen him do all kinds of stuff. Oh, he got it. My husband is chill, but he's got a temper.
Yeah.
He'll put hands on people. He don't care. I'll put hands on a dude too. I don't think twice about it. Anyways, next question. Next topic.
That was a quick one.
I will. I will. I don't care. If somebody came for my if I was out with my man somewhere and some dudes try to jump him, I'd be jumping in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not good.
It's not good, but I told you where I
That's
lived.
ride or die. That's ride or die. That's ride or die. You gotta respect it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. How do we deal with them? Okay, so I saw a video on Twitter and it was actually really, really sad. It was a woman, she was mentally ill. She was pushing a shopping cart. She had 4 kids with her and she was mentally ill. So the police came and because somebody had called the police because it was like hot outside. This lady was running around with her kids outside. It was just a mess. So how do we deal with, as a society, with a mentally ill mother who has children? How do we classify somebody as mentally ill and how should we handle this? Like, is there a chain of command? What happens to the kids? Like, because people are mad at the police. Because I think it was a black woman and it was two white police officers. They didn't beat the lady. What they did was they took the kid, they like moved the kids away from her and then they cuffed her because she was getting like wild, like violent and stuff like that. So, and people are mad about that. They're like, well, they didn't do the right thing and da 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 da. But it's like, you're in a situation like, let's if we just remove the fact that they were cops, and they were just two people that were trying to diffuse the situation. Like, what is the right thing to do, like when you have kids involved, because the kids are scared, they want to be with mom, but mom is obviously a threat to them, and there's no husband around, they're homeless. So what does society do? How do we deal with it?
What was the mom doing?
She was just like homeless and like talking to herself and screaming at the kids and just like walking up and down the street. I don't think the kids had anywhere to be. From what the video looked like, I don't know all the specifics, but people are mad saying the police didn't handle it correctly. But nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's I love kids.
I do too. That's why that's why this is hard for me. But it's like we do need to talk about it because it is a problem in society. Because there are people that are addicted to drugs, or like parents that are just not, they're not necessarily being good to their kids. And it's like, what happens? Like, are the kids better off with the parents, or do we take them and do we put them in the system? Like, how do you do that?
It's a tough one, right? Because they brought these people into this world. They're their responsibility. They're their kids. But at the same time, it's like, can you sit back and let kids be raised by this person, and have to deal with, such strife? And then again, it's like, is the situation that you're going to put them in better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes worse, because sometimes kids go into foster care, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go through that whole foster system, until the age of 18. And that foster system isn't always
Terrible.
the
Sometimes it can be
kindest.
terrible.
Yeah, so I there's a breakdown in society somewhere. There's like certain incentives to be a foster parent, which there are good and bad sides to it, because some people become a foster parent just for the kickback, so
Mm-hmm.
they're not actually caring about kids. But then it's like, you want people to be compensated for taking in somebody else's child. I think then you got like the rich people who go to like Africa and adopt kids and then bring them back here, and they put boys in dresses, right?
And that is not, that is another topic for another day, because that makes
Yeah.
me, that infuriate, that really really bothers me, because I think kids, if somebody wants to grow up and change their sex or become attracted to the same sex or whatever it is, they should be adults, and they should make that decision as an adult, not with the parents' input.
And that's the class that's missing from school. Love. Love should be like part of the curriculum. You and I'm not talking about like male female relationships. I'm just talking about,
Compassion.
yeah, compassion, empathy, sympathy, how to love, how to be loved, and a class where people just spend time just saying nice things to each other, right?
Hmm.
And learning how to receive compliments and how to give compliments, like the fact that that doesn't exist in our curriculum just lets you know the breakdown of our society, and how the people who created this country are just such a failure at doing this. Um, but love is a class. Love is an art. Love is a subject that needs to be taught. And if people don't know how to love, these children won't be loved, and they won't know how to receive love. A lot of kids who've never been loved don't know how to receive love. And that becomes a problem in the foster home, or when they get adopted, they don't know how to deal with somebody who's actually trying to be loving, and it's strange to them. Because and then sometimes there's just like this lack of trust, right? Because you've never felt love before, and then somebody's like trying to show you love, and you're like, well, is this real or not, right? Or are you just pandering because you pity me, right?
Hmm.
Um,
And then that goes to when they try to form a relationship with another adult and, prosper in life, then that's going to impact them in that way. That's why it's so important to teach children from a young age, to let them know they're important, let them know they matter, let them know that they are loved, that they're smart or intelligent or brave or whatever qualities they have. You reinforce, obviously, you don't just like give everybody a trophy, but you reinforce the good qualities in your children, and you work on them with the things that they need to improve on. Like my daughter, I let her know, I love you, you're very brave, you're intelligent, you're musically talented, but you're having accidents right right now. You're not supposed to be having accidents. You got to use a potty, or you're not picking your room up and the 10 minutes time that I'm giving you, or you're not asking mommy for help. So we, those are some of the things that we go over. But I want to build my daughter up so that when she becomes an adult, she's able to have good friendship relationships and work relationships with other human beings. And then if she does decide that she wants to date somebody, when she's 35, then she can go ahead and do that. And so she knows how to have a relationship with another human being, to be kind. But like my daughter now, the coolest thing that I see from her is like when we go somewhere and we see another little kid, she just is like, and even an elderly person, it doesn't matter what color, what race they are, she'll see another baby and she's like, Mom. And I'm like, what? She's like, there's a kid. And I was like, I see, baby. I says, you want to say hi to the kid? And she goes, yeah. And I says, go say hi to the kid. So I let her go say hi to the kid. Like I nod at the parents, make sure it's okay with the parents. And she just is like, and then she like wants to hug them. And it's like,
How old is
it's
she?
she's going to be 4 in August,
Oh
beginning of
yeah,
August.
that age. Yeah.
It is the cutest thing because it doesn't matter who the kid is, like, or who their parents are. She just wants to hug them. And because she's missing going to school because schools are closed, and like all the kids at her school, there's all different kids from all different backgrounds, but she just wants to hug other kids.
Yeah, yeah. At that age, yeah, that's how they are. Yeah. You know, yeah, yeah. I got some news I'll give you next week.
Okay.
Next week, next week.
Okay. I think I okay.
Don't say that. Next topic.
Okay. Next topic. Well, what should we do with people that are like, let's say, what should we do if okay, let's say this. If you see a woman walking down the street and she is homeless, you can tell she's homeless and she's got 4 kids with her.
I think the system needs something um, where they take the whole family. You can't just take the kids and say
Okay.
this mom is bad, right? The system has to support both of them. They have to put both of them in some sort of living arrangement and rehabilitate the mother mentally, right?
Okay.
So one of my big dreams is to build a sanctuary that is for um, rewiring the mind, right? And so, for example, there's a lot of people that are addicted to media, addicted to social media, addicted to devices, addicted to drugs, addicted to TV, addicted to life, right? Addicted to following everybody else's life but their own. They don't even know who they are, right? Their life has been defined by their career, right? And then their kids, which is great, right? But then, like, outside of that, like, they don't know who they are, right? So it's like bringing people to this place where we'll have things like, and I have no problem sharing this because if somebody steals this, it's just a great idea that I just love to see, right? We need thousands of people to do this. But in this facility, there would be no TV. Um, the only screens available would be pumping out like classical music or jazz, right? Real wholesome
Mm-hmm.
type stuff.
Good for the mind.
Yeah, we'll have meditation classes, yoga classes, a completely vegan diet. Um, it'll be beekeeping, it'll be farming, animals, and then like focus groups. We sit around and just talk and tell stories, and everybody wears the same color or the same thing. Yeah, like it's gonna look kind of cultish,
Okay.
but the idea is to remove people from their ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people have the ability to say, "Oh, I look nice and I look pretty," this is the ego talking, right? And you are not your ego. You are a soul, a spirit, and you're a personality, and your personality is much bigger than how you look on this appearance, right? We care about how we look too much and we don't focus on what's inside, right? So it's like, let's be beautiful on the inside and then we can worry about the outside. So everybody's going to dress the same, and because we're all one, so to be like this homogenous society. So, I believe that we have to take somebody like that type of mother and bring her into a place where we remove all these negative stimuli, media, drugs, etc., and just unplug,
Right.
unplug. And when you unplug and bring somebody to nature, they transform. and they find out who they really are. You see a lot of people do that, like when they go on retreats or like these quiet retreats, and they
Mm-hmm.
come back and they're just like, everything looks different, like society looks different, and the things that used to interest them no longer interest them. And they look at, even when you take like social media breaks and you come back to social media, just like, ugh, look at these people, and you just want to turn the device off. You're like disgusted, you know. So you would need to take the whole family. Don't just take the kids, take the mom too, and rehabilitate everybody.
I can get behind that. The only thing I would disagree with you is the same color thing. I feel like humans, we're all different, and we all have different desires, wants, and needs. I feel like they should be able to pick what kind of color clothing they want to wear, just for individuality. That's all.
Fuck your colors. We're all wearing white.
That is racist. You're getting
White,
canceled. You're getting canceled. BLM is going to
all
get
right,
mad at
white
you.
and black.
Okay,
White and black. We wear white during the day and black at night.
okay,
No, no,
that's
we'll wear black. Well, yeah, yeah, white during the day and black at night.
okay. There's actually a facility. It's called, if anybody's watching this and does want to donate to them, they are called the House of Ruth. It's somewhere that's in Los Angeles County, and what it is a facility that takes all members of society that have been domestically abused. So you can be a man or a woman, and they take your kids too, and you can just go stay there till you get on your feet. And they help you, and they have a garden. And I actually donated part of my stimulus check, like half of it, to this place. And when I have extra money at the end of the month, I'll donate it there. But they, on Mother's Day, they left a blue planting thing with some plants in it, and they left it on the doorstep. And first I was like, who the fuck knows where I live? Like, what? And then I saw it, and then they left a little card, and I was like crying because I was just so happy that, like, it was from a little kid that I had helped, and it just made me feel good. So House of
That's
Ruth, if you
dope.
guys want to donate, you can pay with the credit card or whatever, and the money actually goes to help kids and to help people that are dealing with domestic violence. So I like that, though. That was a feel good story.
Shout out to Sketch Therapy holding me down as a moderator. Kristen, thank you for holding me down. Daniel Hawk, $5 super chat. Thank you. He says there was a story. There was a story elements of German government was placing foster kids with pedos for over a decade. Coordinated ring. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be careful. Like, when we remove these kids, like, where are we putting them? Are we putting
Right.
them somewhere better or somewhere worse? Right?
Right.
Because you could be lining them up for sex trafficking, and and,
That's
and
true.
that's worse than being with a toxic mom. As bad as the toxic mom could be. And sometimes these foster parents are molesting kids and so on and so forth, or you get with an uncle and he's touching on you and shit like that. Like, these are like straight up sickos. So we got to make sure that we're doing a good job of. That's why I just think it's important not to separate them from mom, is if mom still has that protective thing about her.
Right.
So
Unless she's abusing the children.
well, if she's abusing the children, I still think that obviously she needs to be under monitored care, but she needs to be her mom. The mom isn't abusive to be abusive. Mom was probably abused too, and that's again.
Right, but if the mother, there was a case that happened in Los Angeles County. It was with the child, Gabrielle Fernandez, and the mother and the boyfriend. It was the mom that was leading the thing. I'm not going to talk about what happened, but they did terrible shit to this kid, and the mom is in prison now. Like, they did very, very bad stuff. It's on Netflix. In some cases, if the parent is abusing the child, like physically abusing them and subjecting them to certain things, then
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the child does need to be taken away.
Yeah, I was talking about more like beating. Like, because some people, you got to remember, when we look at the history of the United States, it was at one point children went to jail. Like, you could lock a child up, right?
Right.
And children were beat. There was corporal punishment. You went to
Right.
school and the school teacher whooped your ass.
I know
So
my grandma got her ass whooped in school because my grandparents, they came on the boat from Sicily. They had the kids here, and then they went back to their farm or whatever the hell in Sicily, and so they spoke Italian. So when they came here to go back to school to live here, my grandma would speak her. She had a very strong Italian accent, and she would get her ass whooped in school by the teacher because the teacher thought she was cursing, but she just couldn't say certain words.
oh yeah, yeah. So like corporal punishment is very much part of world history.
Right, but
Um,
there's
so
a difference when you're spanking your kid because they're bad, or where you're just blocking them in a box and beating them.
Yeah, but corporal punishment was kind of like locking kids in the box and beating them, right? Like,
Watch this. The thing is on Netflix. You could watch it. You probably won't get through like 10 minutes of it. It was so bad. That's the
right.
type of
I,
abuse
I
I'm
know what you're
talking about.
talking about. You're talking about extreme abuse, right? But
Yes.
but today, like, if you spank your kid, that's called abuse. Like, diapers can come and arrest you for giving your kid a spanking,
See, I don't.
right?
I think people should be able to spank their kids. I think that's a problem with a lot of kids these days. Is their parents don't whoop their ass and they need to get their asses whooped
I used to think like that.
to a certain extent. A spank.
I used to think that kids needed spankings
Okay.
until I realized that it's really a Neanderthalish way to think. The thing is, if your kids need to be spanked, it's not their fault. It's a failure of the parent.
Okay.
You're not smart enough to outsmart your kid. I don't beat my kids,
What
and I
about
had.
what about when they're teenagers though and they're bad? They're like they're in your face. They're like trying to throw down with you.
I couldn't imagine that happening. I have a teenage daughter, and here's something called nip it in the bud, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is we don't nip things in the bud, right? So, for example, my girl came downstairs the other day and she asked my daughter for something, and my daughter was like, I don't know, like that, right? Now, if you don't check that level of disrespect, now a lot of people would go, that's not disrespectful.
It is disrespectful, I think.
I think that's ultimately disrespectful. So I didn't beat her or yell at her. I just said, yo, back in the 50s, you would have got your ass whooped for that. Like,
Right.
like that's disrespectful. Like, don't what?
This so my husband and his kid, his oldest son, they've been having lots of problems and it's a kind of a deep rooted thing. It's because the mom hates, my husband's ex hates him because she's very liberal minded. She's the type that'll tell somebody you don't do this, but then she'll go do it and then she'll like parade that she's this amazing person. So she trashes my husband to the kids. She's always done it. So the kids have this image of their dad in their head that he's this horrible, terrible dad, even though he's a very, very, very good dad. So he
Yeah.
argues with his son, and his son, some of the stuff his son says is like very, very disrespectful. So my husband squared up with him a couple times when he was over 18 because he didn't hit him, but he like puffed his chest up to let him know like I'm the alpha, I'm the dominant. You're not going to cuss at me. You're not going to talk to me that way.
Well, he's over 18. Yeah, he can take a fist to the chest. That ain't no problem. You know what I mean? I think that's different. I'm talking about kids. Like,
Yeah, not little kids. I would never. I would. I think I've tapped my daughter's bottom like once or twice, and I
mhm.
says, to kind of because she was, sometimes little kids are just like, because what I do when I punish her, it's like you're gonna go sit on your bed, and I set the timer so she knows like for a minute with the door open, and I'm in my office, I can hear her because the doors are there. So she just goes and she sits in her bed, and I go in there. I says, "You done?" And she
Mhm.
goes, "No." And I says, "Okay, so I'm going to set the timer another minute." She's like, "Okay." And then she starts screaming again. And I come in, "Are you done?" "No." And I was like, "Okay." So this goes on about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the challenge for me now is not to yell, right? I try to figure out how to communicate. The boys are 10 now, and I try to figure out how do you communicate with them without yelling,
Mm-hmm.
and even as their athletic coach, how do I communicate to them without yelling? I
Push
feel like,
ups.
yeah, I mean, that's ordinary, but I mean, the thing is reasoning, right? You have to make your children understand the reasoning behind things, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can say don't do this and you spank them. That don't
No,
mean they understand the reason
no,
behind
you have
why.
to you have to sit down with the kids. Like even my daughter, even when she was I'm trying to think. Maybe when she was like a year and a half, when she could actually understand stuff, it was like we would always explain stuff to her, even if it was just crossing the street or if I had to go, heat up some milk for her. It was like, okay, well, I'm going to put you down here. Mommy can't hold you while mommy's, because I was nursing and pumping, so I had to defrost it, put it in the bottle. Da, da, da. Says mommy has to put you down, and she would cry. So I'd explain to her, I'm going to put you down. You're going to cry, but mommy's be in the kitchen doing this. So I would always explain stuff to her. But now she's starting to get a little bit of an attitude, so I have to come up with creative solutions to discipline her, but also explain to her. So every time after she gets in trouble, I explain to her, this is what you did. You're not supposed to do this. This is why you got punished. Next time we need to work on doing this. And if you can't work on doing this solution, you need to come talk to me and tell me why you can't work on it. And we can come up with a different way to do it.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yeah.
So
well, let's wrap it up right there.
We're done?
Let's wrap it up right there.
Okay.
It's about an hour and a half. We've been rocking. I'm trying to cut these down to like an hour and a half.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm going to save these 2 topics for the one after that.
Yeah, let's save them for next week.
That's good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's save those for next week. Really good topics. We'll touch on them next week.
No, we won't touch on them next week because we got.
Oh, we got McAfee. Yeah, we got McAfee. Yeah, so we'll save them for a week after that.
All right.
But yeah, when it comes to the kids, it's like people ask me like, how are your kids so well behaved? And it's just because I give them the same respect I would give another adult, and I reason with them, and we joke, and I tell them why certain things should be the way they are, and why things aren't the way they are, and I allow them to make mistakes, and saying, it's okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to make the same mistakes.
Right.
It's a difference, right? You catch you making the same mistakes. It's like, all right, now we got a problem.
Well, it's also too letting, like my daughter, where I'm trying to explain to her the difference between what a mistake is, like a mistake in an accident, and then doing something intentionally. So her thing is now is like, oh, mommy, it was a mistake, and I'm like, no, a mistake is when you're drinking a cup of milk and you drop it. It falls out of your hand, not when you just pour it out like this. So, yep. So. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, set alerts. You guys can find me on crypto Twitter. All my links are down below. Well, I'll see you next week, HOTEP, at Wednesday, 2 p.m. on Wednesday the 8th. And I will ping you to let you know to remind you. And then you got to bring your questions too, because I'm sure you've got a lot of questions for them.
Superb.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks. Yeah. See ya.
HOTEP.